You have TOC Sports and Huntsville Hospital Sports Center on the brain. If you're not, you should, because Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports have partnered for more than 2 decades to establish a state-of-the-art team of certified athletic trainers and orthopedic specialists who successfully continue to meet and exceed the sports medicine needs of schools, athletes, coaches, and parents in our community. Committing to kids, committing to community, committing to care. That's Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we get to say welcome in. We're brand new, we're live, we're off, and we're rolling for the first time in 2025. That's right, Talking Ball. We are back. 256-576-4977. You can join us throughout the morning. Welcome in. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, that has happened in the sports world since we last joined you on December 23rd. And a lot has happened. But first and foremost, though, Drew, I know our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved in the senseless tragedy in New Orleans. We will have the Sugar Bowl today, and that'll be played at 3 o'clock with Georgia and Notre Dame. But how did we get to everything else in the college football playoff world yesterday? Wow, oh, wow. One game that was impressive, and another one had an impressive team as Texas and Arizona State go to double overtime, and Ohio State just trounces Oregon.
Yeah, you know, and I'm 7-0 right now in my predictions for the college football playoff, and it's gone about like I thought, even though I got to give Arizona State a lot of credit. They looked like they were dead in the water. It was 24-8. Early in the fourth quarter, I didn't think there was going to be a lot of drama, but I got to give Cam Scadaboo a lot of credit. I mean, I've seen him, but I hadn't watched him for a whole game, and that dude's a beast. First thing I thought after watching him is it's another Jerome Bettis, but Matt Zenitz of 24/7 Sports made, I think, an even better comparison. I think he's like a Mike Allstott type guy, just an old school big back that's got a lot of talent. I mean, what he did as a runner, receiver, and passer and then being named MVP of the game even though they lost. I mean,
first time in 26 years that someone from the losing team was named offensive MVP.
Well, I mean, Arizona State was one play away. It was a fourth down play where Quinn Ewers proved what a great quarterback's supposed to do and made a great throw to Golden to get them into the second OT. But again, without Cam Scatterbo and what he did running the football, catching the football, and then of course is on that halfback pass, Arizona State's not even in the game. Okay, so he carried his team, especially in the second half, and he was unreal. And Arizona State, I got to give Kenny Dillingham and those guys credit. But again, I know he made a comment after the game that a lot of people thought we didn't deserve to be there. I wasn't one of them. I just said they didn't deserve the 4 seed and the bye. They won their league, so they won their league. They should have been in there. They obviously proved they could compete. Hats off to them. They did one hell of a job. It's been the only college football playoff game that's been worth 10 cents because I'm not shocked that Ohio State beat Oregon. I picked them to do that. Now, the way it unfolded surprised me a little bit. I wasn't expecting 34-0, and it was basically a beatdown. It was over by early in the second quarter. But I will say this. I've always thought going into the year that Ohio State had the most talented team, but it took them a while to gel, and now they've gelled. And, I mean, again, if people remember that Oregon-Ohio State game earlier in the season, Oregon was very lucky to escape, which they did, and they didn't escape this time. Ohio State was the better team on both lines of scrimmage, but the thing that separates Ohio State is their skill players. I mean, they have the receivers,
especially on the wide receiver position.
They have 2 really good backs, and Will Howard is a good player. I mean, he's had a good year there. He's certainly an NFL prospect. He can make all the throws from the pocket. It's nice to watch, and so I just think that, right now they're the favorite. I mean, as much as I would love, and I've been, said this on the show ad nauseum, to see Georgia win this afternoon and then Texas win and have Texas for the third time. Look, I'm under no delusions of grandeur here. I think Ohio State, look, man, throw the seeding out. I mean, we all understand that Ohio State was underseeded. Ohio State's the favorite against Texas. I don't give a rat's rip where the game's played.
6.5 point favorite Vegas has Ohio State right now over Texas.
And they had Ohio State as favorite over 1 seed Oregon, and they were right. So I understand it's in the backyard of Texas at the Cotton Bowl, but I really don't care. I mean, I just think that Ohio State's the better team. Certainly Sark's team's got a shot, but they're going to have to play their absolute best. Like, I thought they played their B game yesterday. If they play their B game, they're going to get their ass busted, against Ohio State, and they'll lose by double figures. But, again, congrats to Texas on finding a way. And as you said earlier, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers to all the people over in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, the University of Alabama lost a student. The young man, the former football player at Princeton that passed away.
University of Georgia lost one as well.
Yeah, because they got, and the young lady from Gulfport, Mississippi, that snuck out. Her parents didn't even know it. I mean, there's all these stories that are coming out. I mean, it's just a senseless tragedy. And again, that's why this country has got to get new footing come January the 20th. You've got to get the new regime in here and a president that's going to react and not have our border and secure our borders, because it's just really, really sad that things like this have to happen to people that's just innocent people that are just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
By the way, Oregon was trying to become the first new college football national champion since Florida in 1996.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just goes, it just tells you, so somebody, I guess Penn State would be in that equation.
Well, I mean, don't forget, though, Florida didn't go undefeated. They had to, they beat FSU in a rematch, but I see what you're saying. I mean, you're talking about the preseason or the number one team, I guess.
Because.
Well, no, but I mean, Oregon wasn't the preseason number one. Now, they've been number one. That was really Ohio State. And of course, because a lot of people thought Ohio State was going to be the best team in the country. There was a lot of people that were that picked them before the year because of the roster they put together, and they never kind of played up to that standard. At least I felt like it was up and down. Don't forget the the harrowing game against Nebraska at home where it looked like the Buckeyes. And just think about that. If the Buckeyes had lost that game, they would have probably missed the playoff. I mean, that's how crazy this stuff is. But, again, I just think overall when you look at it, I think Ohio State had the best roster that they put together, no question about it.
It's one of the best money could buy.
Well, I mean, yeah, they spent a ton of money. They were very aggressive in the transfer portal when they went and got Quinshawn Judkins and when they went and got Will Howard. They made no bones that they obviously – and even though he went and had a great year at Syracuse, they didn't like Kyle McCord. They just felt like Kyle McCord wasn't that guy. And for the year that Kyle had, you know, Syracuse won a bowl game. I think he led the nation in passing and things of that nature.
I think they ended up with double-digit wins.
I think they went, 10-3?
Yeah.
After the bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a tremendous year. So it looked like it might blow up in their face. But, again, they've gotten hot at the right time. And right now they're playing as good a football as anybody in the country. There's no question about that.
You go back to the Arizona State-Texas game. Arizona State possessed the ball for nearly 38 minutes of a 60-minute regulation game. Arizona State ended up running 85 plays in that game. Texas had just 55 plays in regulation. Both teams averaged nearly roughly the same number of yards per play during regulation, but Arizona State outgained Texas by more than 150 yards before overtime. So that's how Arizona State able to mount that comeback in that win, or in the loss, though, against Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Arizona State showed a lot of heart coming back. Scadaboo made himself a lot of money. I mean, running backs were still kind of devalued, but he proved himself to be an outstanding pro prospect. There's no question about it. I think he'll probably be like a Derrick Henry in the sense that he'll probably be a second-round pick. Probably should be a first-round pick, but again, he's in a tough spot with the position he plays. I thought Levitt showed a lot of athleticism. I didn't know a lot about him. I'd watched him a little bit. But, again, you don't see – even with Arizona State being in the Big 12 now, you still don't see as much of them. But I thought they did an outstanding job. I thought defensively they did a great job. Because if you look at the game, Scott, they really – and this is the thing that I thought they'd have trouble with. They stopped Texas' running game. Texas really was imbalanced. They had a hard time running the ball consistently at all. And
No, they did.
I mean, I thought their defensive staff, and I've got a great source in college football that had basically tipped me off that this defensive coaching staff at Arizona State's one to watch. Like, they gave Kalen DeBoer's team a lot of problems last year. Now, Washington won an ugly game over them, kicked a bunch of field goals, but they were able to keep, you know, Washington from romping up and down the field. So I thought they did a really good job on defense. And I thought they competed really well. And again, got to give Kenny Dillingham a lot of credit. He's really young, and what a dramatic turnaround after his first year. You know, where they had a losing season, and then he goes from there to one play away from the college football playoff semifinals. Pretty amazing, Scott, that if you don't try to fire a coach after the first year, he might actually turn it around the second. But, of course, we've got a lot of crazy people that want to fire a guy for going 9-4 after 1 year because they're insane and they wouldn't know a football from a volleyball.
There's a lot to break down in those words right there, but the last game that we haven't even touched on, and that was the one that was actually played on played at 24 hours before the other ones, and that was Penn State, Boise State. Penn State pulls away 31-14 in that one. Got to see a lot of Ashton Genty in that ball game. What did you take away from him and Boise State's performance?
Well, I mean, Boise State competed, but you could tell they had no chance to win. That's all I'm going to say. You can spin it and say, well, they punched, they had a chance, blah blah blah. But did you ever think they were going to win?
No. Once you saw the size of the lines between Penn State and Boise State, it was a mismatch.
I mean, Genty is definitely a talent. There's no doubt about it. But I will say this: I was more impressed with what I saw Cam Scadaboo do than what I saw Ashton Genty do. Okay, because I mean, I think Scadaboo would have given Penn State all kind of problems, and I just think I was more impressed, and especially, look, having not seen a ton of Scadaboo, I didn't realize how good a receiver he was. All right, I mean, he nearly had 100 yards receiving, And he, of course, made the play on the halfback pass. Now, do I think Genty's an NFL player? Absolutely. Okay, I think he's definitely a talent. But do I think he should have won the Heisman? Hell no. I don't think he should have won the Heisman Trophy. And Scadaboo, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, he wasn't at the Heisman ceremony. Where did he finish in the Heisman voting? He did finish fifth?
He finished fifth, yeah. Look, I'll say this. If we were able, and I say we, South and the East Coast and stuff, if we were able to see more Arizona State games, I think we would have voted differently. But we didn't get to see a lot of them. All you saw was some highlights. You didn't get to see a lot of those games.
Yeah, you didn't. That's very true. Even though they're in a different league, they're still on the West Coast. And
yes.
So it's still hard to see those guys. I'll say this, though. Geez. I was like, who is this guy screaming and going, woo, and yelling and got this beard? And who the hell is he standing next to the head coach? And I kept looking real close, and I was like, oh, my God, that's Jake the Snake Plummer. I hadn't seen him since he retired from the NFL. Wow.
Yeah.
And he played for Bruce Snyder at Arizona State. Are you kidding me? Freaking Jake the Snake Plummer. Great to see him. I mean,
well, the good news coming out of all of this is expect some changes next year with the college football playoff seedings.
Yeah, the seeding has got to change at least to the next year, Scott.
Yes, and I think that has been the early word coming around from the playoff committee is that, hey, look, maybe we don't give the conference champions the buys. You know, we don't give them – it's not locked in that if you win your conference championship, you will get a bye. They're going to revise that. It does look like it and do some reseeding because this is all just – it's weird. And if you look at it closely, Arizona State, Oregon, and Boise State, so far all three teams with the byes have lost. Georgia is the only one yet to remain to play. They will play Notre Dame today. But so far, all three teams that have had byes in the college football playoffs have all lost.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really interesting. I mean, none of them have been able to win. But I will say this. I'm not surprised. I picked it because, look, I think Boise, I didn't mind them being in once they won their league and being the group of five or whatever representative. Okay, I had no problem with them being in either. And they had a narrow loss to Oregon, who was the number one seed. But they should have been the third seed, okay? And then, in my opinion, even though they nearly were one play away from winning, Arizona State should have been the four, okay?
Right.
I have no problem with both of them being in. Both of them should have been in. And the only – I mean, look, I just think overall when you look at it – and I didn't even really have a huge problem with Indiana being in. I just said they didn't play anybody. Once they went 11-1 in the Big Ten and Alabama tripped over themselves, South Carolina, Ole Miss, when all these teams, you know, just couldn't hold their – couldn't finish strong, I knew being 11-1 out of a league like that, they were going to be in the playoff. I don't think they were that good, though. I don't think they weren't. I'll be honest with you. After watching the game, Scott, I don't think Indiana was as good as Boise or Arizona State. But that's just me just watching them on the eye test. But, again, the main thing I had a problem with is because I just felt like SMU shouldn't have been in there at all. But, heck, Alabama didn't help themselves. They went out there and tripped all over themselves. They got the worst starting quarterback in college football. He needs to go to the NFL. I mean, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I mean, you can look at all the teams that they say should have been in the playoffs. Miami, lost.
Alabama.
Miami. Ole Miss hadn't played. I keep forgetting Ole Miss.
I mean, you go to the Miami game. You go to the Miami game, and that's that. We talk about how opting out in bowl games, how opting out is ruining college football. What happened in that bowl game is even worse for college football than anything possible when your quarterback just decides at halftime that he's done.
I mean, all he did, we all know what he did, Scott. He did it. He was trying to set a record, okay?
Right.
That's basically all he was doing. He didn't really care if his team won or lost. He was trying to set a record. And then I think Miami's coaches wanted to take a look, at their backup and see if the young kid was ready. But quite frankly, here's my thing, and this is why I'll give Milroe credit. He stunk. But if you're going to play, play. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And then if you happen to play well, which with Milroe, it's like schizophrenia. You don't know. He might play great or he might look like Ned in the first reader. You know what I'm saying? And if he plays great, you probably got a, 14, 17-point lead, and you probably can play a Ty Simpson. But instead, you got bad Milroe for just about the entire game. He digs a hole for you, and again, he plays terrible, and so you get the bad Milroe, but he played the whole game. And I never, and especially once Alabama got down 16-0, I didn't think they were going to. Everybody kept saying, why didn't he make a quarterback change? He's not going to make a quarterback change. And especially by halftime when you're only down 16-10, it's just not going to happen, guys. He's going to stick with the starting quarterback. And I think 90+% of the coaches would. I don't think Nick Saban ever would have made a quarterback change this year either. You can yell from the rooftops. He did it with Tua Tagovailoa, but I got news for Alabama fans. I think Ty Simpson has a lot of potential, but I don't see a Tua Tagovailoa on the bench right now. And that's why we didn't see a change during the season. Now, I haven't seen Keelan Russell practice one time. He's the National Player of the Year. We talked about that. First time Alabama's ever signed the guy. Could he be that dude, maybe even as a freshman? Maybe, but he hasn't even practiced. So just to assume that is crazy. I've learned my lesson with quarterbacks. Got to see them first. But I'm just saying, right now you got Ty Simpson and then an 18-year-old Austin Mack, because we all know Dylan Lonergan left to go to Boston College and play for Bill O'Brien. I'm just saying, I don't know that it would have gotten much better if you throw Ty Simpson in there. Now, I'm sure the response would be, well, you never know. Maybe he would have played well. Maybe he would have. I don't know. But I just know with the climate today, the NIL and things of that nature, and with what Jalen Milroe has done, which he has played well at times, you're not going to bench him in that situation. That's just not going to happen. The head coach is not going to do that.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll go to your phone calls, plus we'll break down some more of Alabama's bowl game against Michigan. We got a lot of stuff to look forward to. We got to recap the Huntsville City Classic. We've got to look ahead to Georgia Notre Dame. We got a lot of stuff to get through. 256-576-4977, and all of it begins after this.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join us all season long as we get you ready for primetime NFL action every Monday night. Along with Kevin Harlan, Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, and the entire Westwood One team will take you inside the locker rooms and the stadiums for exclusive previews and all the play-by-play action. Every week on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat, and that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. Are those new school clothes wearing out that old washer and dryer? Well, it's time to get off the bus at Owen Home Appliance Center and learn what a new Speed Queen washer can do for you. They're in stock and are ready for delivery now. At Owen Home Appliance Center, quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's right there in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center. 2 locations to serve you, Highway 36 in Somerville and the interactive location at Highway 231 in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 977 ESPN The Zone.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone on this Thursday, January 2nd, our first show of 2025. 256-576-4977. You can join us until 9 a.m. And coming up at 8 o'clock, Brian Starkey will join us, head coach of the Bob Jones Patriots, as we recap their run to the 42nd edition Huntsville City Classic Championship. And then at 8:30, Brooks Austin will join us as we talk Georgia Notre Dame, and a lot to talk about there. A lot of what happened yesterday with Georgia and how they processed everything and how they got into today. But let's go out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Borough is with us. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
Morning.
I was going to say, I watched some of the bowl games. Watched the Music City Bowl. Well, that was one of the more exciting games so far. And I thought both Boise State and Arizona State acquitted themselves well. I mean, everybody slammed them for seeding. You know, then what I say next year, they don't have any automatic bids. Just take the top 12. Don't do no conference champion business. It's just that if they win the conference, big deal. Don't go. Like Lady said when the thing came out, you can't keep these 11-win teams out over a 9-win team.
Right.
I don't care about scheduling. I ain't worried about all that.
What if we just made it 16?
What
if we just made it 16 and everybody played everybody?
Alabama fans, and every one of them, when it came out, said they shouldn't have been. But there's a friend of mine that I know, and he wouldn't even. I don't know what it's like now, but when it first came out, he wouldn't even go out of his house for a week. And I wanted to ask Drew. Drew, did you see what Pollock said about South Carolina and Alabama?
I didn't see it. No.
He said basically neither one of them, the way they played in them bowl games, that proves right there they should have been in the playoffs. Neither one of them.
Neither one of them would have won the national championship anyway, Jeff. But
I know they would have. I'm just saying.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'll say, let me say this.
Let me ask these guys, what is Shane Beamer's problem? He needs to go back to Columbia. Quit trying to fight with that Illinois coach.
Because Bielema's a turd. That's what the problem is. He's a turd. He's always been a turd. You can ask Scott if he's a turd.
Yeah, that was uncalled for.
The guy is a turd, Jeff, just like you. He's a turd just like you. That's why you're putting up with him. That's why you're putting up with him, Jeff. You're a turd.
But here's this, and thanks for the phone call, Jeff. And
you gone.
This isn't the first time in 2025.
Early leader, moron of the year, frying another turkey.
This isn't an indictment on how Alabama played in the bowl game at all. But what I'm saying is we sit here, and I guess it's part of the instant reaction that we say, well, you know what? So-and-so didn't play well in their bowl game, so I guess the committee made the right choice about not letting them in.
That's so stupid, though. Now, I will say this for Alabama. Alabama was bad because they didn't have many opt-out. But go ahead, Scott.
But I was going to say, in a lot of these cases, the teams that are playing in these minor bowl games are not the same teams
that play
opt during
out
the regular season. Yes, because you have opt-outs, you have guys declaring for the draft, and Nick Saban even said it in College Game Day that it's a risk because you have guys, yes, that are playing, but do they really want to be there? Do they really want to play? Are they focused and bought in 110%. I'm not making excuses for any team in the bowl games. I'm just saying that if we sit here and we say, oh, you can't, you know what, the committee made a right choice because, by not putting Miami in, they lost to Iowa State or Alabama lost to Michigan or whatever. No, you can't sit there. It's not apples and oranges. It doesn't go together. And you're right. Would Alabama or South Carolina or Miami have won the national championship? Probably not.
No.
But if we let 16 teams in like the Division I AA or whatever we want to call it, FCS or whatever.
Right.
If we have 16 teams in, nobody gets a bye. Everybody plays in round one, and then you concede 1 through 16, and bam, it's an easy fix.
Well, I will say this. I think it's what you're saying. I do think that if Alabama had gotten in, or South Carolina, or even Ole Miss, because Ole Miss plays later today. They do. They play tonight against Duke. I think you have a different energy. I know Alabama didn't have, quote-unquote, any starters opt out or whatever, and it was a horrendous offensive performance. Now, I will say, if you know football and you watched Alabama play against Michigan, the kicking game performance, because Graham Nicholson made a 51-yarder, made both his kicks, Burnham did his job. They had a punt return to set things up on a platter for Milroe late in the game. The defense, after that horrendous start by the offense, put them in a hole. They stood on their head and gave Alabama a chance. I thought in 2 of the 3 phases Alabama was ready to play. They just did not play well offensively, and it was 90% because of the quarterback, because the quarterback wasn't very good. Now, he may have struggled in the playoff if Alabama had made it. He did last year against Michigan. No question about it. But I do think there would have been a different energy, a different focus. A lot of those guys you saw opt out would not have opted out, I don't think. They would have all stayed with their team to play in the playoff, because that's just a different thing. You're playing for a championship. But, I mean, I see what you're saying. But, again, it still wasn't a good loss for Alabama at all. They didn't finish. Neither did South Carolina. I was surprised by that. I thought they would beat Illinois. But I will say this. Because of what you're saying, because of the opt-outs, and because it's just a different energy when you're not playing for a national championship, bowl games are a crapshoot. How anybody bets on them or anything like that is insane. You know what I'm saying? Because I think, and kudos to your boys for building a 10-point lead, scoring some points, and having a chance. But I do think that Missouri was the better team, and I think if that wasn't the Mizzou team we saw, because you saw Luther Burden, he was just standing on the sidelines. He decided to opt out and things like that. So you're right. Bowl games pretty much are just exhibitions. Friend of mine, our good friend B. Rich, who fried that amazing turkey, and again, kudos to him, he said it as much on X. He said these are now exhibition games.
So let me ask you this. What if we did this? And this is just I may be way off here. What if we played the bowl games at the beginning of the year?
That sounds a little bit too insane. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, what if we matched up, like, everybody wants these good matchups for non-conference games. What if we take like an Alabama and Michigan and play it, play it in the ReliaQuest Bowl in the beginning of the year, and it be, we have a neutral site game. It's the ReliaQuest Bowl, and we play the beginning of the year.
No, what we need to do, Scott, is they need to have revenue sharing, which is coming, and then these contracts, and they need to be contracts now, and really multi-year contracts, because, again, as I said, a kid should only have the option of transferring one time during his 5 years, and it should be 5 years, no redshirting anymore. One time to transfer. And then other than that, the only other 2 times you can is if your head coach, not your offensive coordinator, not your position coach, whatever, your head coach leaves or you graduate. There should only be a 3-pronged situation for you to be able to transfer. Otherwise, it's a multi-year contract. And then if you sign said contract, your ass cannot opt out of the bowl. And if you do, you get zero money. And then we'll see how many of these kids are opting out when they ain't getting paid, okay? There needs to be a caveat there which makes these kids play in these bowl games, because they're making big money now, a lot of them, big money. I mean, Milroe's a millionaire. I mean, a lot of these Power 4 now some of the Group of 5 are not, but they're still making pretty good money, though. They're still making pretty good money. And so any kind of money you're not going to want to forfeit. It's like the NFL. If an NFL organization said, well, you're not on our injury report and you're not having a child or you just don't feel like playing, well, guess what? If that dude does that, or like that linebacker from the 49ers who just walked off, you get suspended and you don't get paid, okay? You don't get that check. And so I don't think they should get that check if they're not going to play. And so, to me, that will stop the opt-outs if you put that in these contracts.
Well, I'll just say this. The Iowa offense is as bad in person as it is on TV.
Oh, yeah. I will say this, though.
After seeing it in person and seeing some of the questionable play calls, it's just as bad in person as it is.
And I know they were
watching
getting
it on
down the
TV.
depth chart at quarterback, man. I understand that. Guys leaving, guys transferring. You're
Well,
bringing
the
in
guy
Hank
that
Brown.
Brendan Sullivan, the guy that played, actually became the starter for
I like
McNamara
him. I
halfway
like
through
Sullivan.
the year.
He can actually move.
Yeah,
I mean,
he became the starter. So, I mean, they actually had their quote-unquote
I'll be honest.
QB1.
I've never seen a quarterback like that at Iowa that can actually, scramble. Usually they're all statues, man.
The last one we had was Brad Banks.
Oh!
And we had him for a year or two, and he led Iowa to the Orange Bowl.
Gotcha.
And he finished in the top 3, I think it was, for Heisman that year. That was the last one that we had. 7:33. I know the phone lines are full, but we got to get a break in. When we come back, I promise we will get to the phone calls when we come back. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon, but we are going to be quite chilly across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s. A couple of folks could see the lower 50s. We drop into the mid 30s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Once again, temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s, dropping into the mid 20s as we head into the early part of the weekend. A mostly sunny sky Saturday afternoon. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 40s, dropping into the low 30s overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. See all the delicious options at Cheeseburger Bobby's for yourself. Check out the menu and more at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Y'all know me, still the same OG, but I've been low key.
All right, we mentioned phone lines were full. That's exactly they are. We'll go out there to them right out of the break. Let's get Bama Bino in here first. Good morning, sir.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year, guys. I miss listening to you guys on the break, but y'all deserve a break.
Yeah, we took an extended one for that one.
Yeah, we it's the only time of the year, really, Bama Bino, that we take a few days off, like several in a row.
Well, you deserved it. I'm just saying, for what it's worth, I missed it, and I
appreciate
like listening to you guys. I hope everybody had a good one, and yeah, this country has hope, and I'm going to be limited on this, but what you said about January 20th can't come soon enough. This was predictable, and it's not the last. I hope I'm wrong, but it wasn't the only one day before yesterday either. And there's no way it could not happen with the leadership we had. But that's all I'll say about that. America woke up. So I know I'm in the minority on the show call-ins on the quarterback thing. Yeah, well, for that situation, you can't switch a quarterback. But if you switch one in the Tennessee game, maybe you do. He's not developed. He's been there 4 years. And sure, he's great off the field, so let's give him the win off the field award. But we've got to get a quarterback coach, even if he's not the offensive coordinator. We've got to get somebody to work with quarterbacks and develop them and to where they're in their fourth year and they're not knowing how to read coverage, not knowing footwork. You see him throw off his back foot twice. He had a guy wide open twice. That's probably not what lost the game for us, but the last play of the game, he had a guy in the end zone. If it's just a direct shot at an average high school quarterback zip speed, that's a touchdown. If he's not, the theme I see is they're not focused on football. They're focused on socialism. That's what this pay players is. Everybody gets a trophy. He's getting paid the same way no matter what he does. Not saying he didn't want to win, but he's not doing the things in the off season evidently to get to the point of knowing how to read coverage and how to the footwork, this and that, the arm rhythm. I'm not a quarterback coach, but I know they have some because there's players improved on it. But hats off to the defense. We had several players out that got injured over the years.
Right.
And I'm going to say Kane Womack deserves to be there.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about our play calling, and I'm not going to put Milroe on Sheridan because I don't think no matter what he does, Milroe had his habits or non-habits already in the bag. It's kind of like trying to teach a senior to clean his room up or to do his homework. It's already too late.
Mm-hmm.
He's already out the door. So I don't think you can blame Sheridan for that. But since when are we a fade route throwing team? I thought we saw that the not going, running the ball on the 2-yard line against Tennessee, you don't throw fade passes. It's only going to go to one guy, and everybody knows who it's going to.
Right.
My dad sat there in the chair the day before yesterday and told me every player that he was going to throw to, right when he threw to them, even if there's 3 guys over there, he said, it's going to number 2, it's going to number 5, it's going to number 7. You can't telegraph the day before that you're going to throw it to the guy. I mean, this is simple junior high stuff. Does nobody work with somebody and, maybe you can't do it in that situation and it matters then, but if you some point start doing it, it will pay dividends down the road. And another thing, I know we've got a lot of callers. If you don't, if you get a good quarterback prospect and you're just going to give the trophy to the guy that's the starter at every game, no matter how he plays, it's going to cause them to think, well, no, I'm not going to get a chance to work my way in there. I want to go somewhere that will play the best chance to win. And I can see why Lonergan transferred. And I'm not saying Simpson was better than Milroe, but if you do the plus and minuses on a math sheet, and he wouldn't have got but 3 touchdowns, Milroe got 5, but turned the ball over 3 or 4 times, that's a +2. So if you can't give the other team points, I mean, we give 3 different times we give, or at least twice we give short field. And I know it was slipping and sliding, but guess what? It was slipping and sliding for them too.
Right.
But I noticed they weren't slipping and sliding as much as we were. So that tells me we don't take the same amount of cleat differential that some teams do. And I think we did under certain administrations. We did. We had cleats we could swap out, but they were not slipping and sliding like we were. So evidently they had longer cleats on. But anyway, I'm not going to solve the world's problems. That's just my opinion. and I love you guys.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for the phone call, Bama Bino. Let's go to Wolverine Dan real fast. Good morning, sir.
What's up, Dan? Congrats.
Well, thank you. I don't know how to make this phone call. I don't want to really tease you both off, but I've got a lot of stats that are favoring Michigan. Should I speak that on the air or just say congratulations? Or should I say, I don't know what to say because I got a feeling I'll be pissing off some people.
Well, look, man, Michigan deserved to win the game. They outplayed Alabama. Alabama's quarterback played extremely poorly. Michigan's defense had a lot to do with it. Alabama had their chances. They had a first down at the 15-yard line with a minute and 30 seconds to go, 15 yards. If they score that touchdown, they got a good chance to win the game. It's not a lock because Michigan would have had a little bit of time left to potentially drive down, maybe try a field goal. I don't think they would have done it because of their quarterback situation because they got their starter hurt. But, again, it's one of those things where Alabama had opportunities. They didn't play very well. They dug themselves a hole early, and 90% of it was the quarterback. But I give Michigan a lot of credit. They proved why they beat Ohio State because even though they had a lot of guys opt out, they're very, very good defensively, and they played to their strengths. They ran the ball. And Alabama, I thought, made some good adjustments defensively and started stopping them. But, again, they played the percentages. They didn't take chances. They did turn it over once, but only one time, and Alabama's offense once again couldn't take advantage, and Michigan's defense held them to a field goal. Michigan played the kind of complementary football they played all year, and it's why they beat Ohio State. They didn't have a great year, but they have a formula now. They've changed offensive coordinators. They got a great quarterback coming in, but I thought they had a really good game plan. And Alabama offensively was a train wreck. And they're a train wreck because the quarterback, you don't know, it's schizophrenia. You don't know if you're going to get the good Milroe or the bad. And Michigan certainly forced him to play poorly. They pressured him. And when you pressure Milroe, he doesn't react well. And, again, I give all credit to Michigan. There's no excuses. Alabama had just about everybody available that besides the guys that transferred, and none of them were starters. Michigan won the game, and they deserve the kudos for doing it. And Alabama's, got to move on, and they've got to get Milroe out of here, whether it's the transfer portal or the NFL draft. His ass doesn't need to take another snap at Alabama.
Okay. Well, you've said a lot, and with that said, I'm going to back off on these stats. But I will say something that your previous caller did say, and I'm going to lay these stats. I'll probably have Tom show. Drew, you're a great guy. You love Bama and everything. I just don't want to work out, dude. So I'm not going to do it. But I will say this: your previous caller said about your quarterback, his footwork. My son told me. He said when he watched the game, he says that when Milroe is aiming the ball off, his feet are together, not one in front of the other. But when he passes the ball, his feet separate, one further front and one back. So he gets a jump start on his passing, falling back for a pass.
That's 100% right.
Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I saw it after the game. He was telegraphing everything. I'm sure Michigan figured it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep,
well,
absolutely.
So you're right, Drew. It's time for him to go. As far as, but Wink Martindale,
did a great job. Yep, did a great job, man.
Yeah, I'm very pleased, and Happy New Year, and my thoughts to you two, and also my thoughts and prayers to the people that unfortunately was involved in that terrorist act. And, Drew, you and I are on the same page when it comes to this. We're not that far away from January 20th, and when he gets sworn in, just like Ronald Reagan did, release the hostages, and he said, if you do not, that was Ronald Reagan, all hell's going to break loose, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Big boy people with the big boy pants is coming in this administration, and I'll tell you what, Drew, we're going to get this figured out.
Yeah,
have a great New Year.
Start deporting some people. Let's go.
Yep. All right. Thanks for the phone call, Wolverine Dan. Let's keep it going. Let's get Zach in before the break. Good morning, Zach.
Morning, Zach.
Hey guys, what's up? I love the show. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir.
I just got a question, Drew.
Sure.
Coach DeBoer, I mean, is this I'm just going to stick with this. Can he make the decision? You know what I mean? Are the boosters back in there like pre-Saban? Are they telling him we paid this joker $2.5 million to play this year? You can't bench him. What's going on down there?
Well, the players have all the power, man. I'm just telling you. If Kalen DeBoer was in a really tough spot when he took the job because
I agree.
Now I will say this: things teetered last year. If Jalen Milroe doesn't make the gravedigger throw, then they don't beat Auburn. They don't
Right.
go to the SEC championship game. He doesn't finish 6th in the Heisman voting. Then if Kalen and if
They
Saban
don't get into the playoffs.
right? They don't get in the playoff. Then if Saban retires, then there's not nearly the he retired on top kind of thing. And then if Kalen DeBoer takes the job, you're not as beholden to Jalen Milroe because he had a decent year, but not great. But the way he finished the season, finishing 6th in the Heisman voting, and then they were a play or two away from playing Kalen DeBoer for the national title, you can't not have him as your quarterback because he had the locker room. See, Saban, I firmly believe going into last year, Saban and the coaching staff thought Ty Simpson was going to be the guy going into spring, but he didn't perform very well. And then when he didn't, and Milroe didn't set the woods on fire, why do you think they brought Tyler Buckner in and paid him, from what I understand, several $100,000? Why do you think they did that? Because they weren't satisfied with the quarterback position. But Buckner came in. He didn't take to the offense very well. They did give him the one start against South Florida when they suspended Milroe after the way he reacted, against Texas. But again, Buckner struggled. Ty came off the bench and saved the day and won the game, but he didn't set the woods on fire. And Milroe responded the way Saban thought he should. And then the locker room basically told Saban, look, Coach, this is the guy. And Saban listened to his players, and it worked. I mean, the kids stepped up, the team stepped up. So DeBoer was in a very difficult position because right now, Zach, there is the coaches don't have any power, man. You can't tell a kid. You cannot tell a kid if a kid comes to you and says, Coach, I'm going into the transfer portal. The coach can't say, no, you're not. We're not letting you. All he has to do is fill out the paperwork, and he's gone. Yeah. So the entire team could have left if DeBoer had come in and said, well, I'm Kalen DeBoer. This is not my type of quarterback. I need Ty Simpson, or I need to bring in don't forget he had already brought in the QB from Mississippi State to take Penix's place at Washington. Don't forget that. And then if he had decided to bring that kid
Will Rogers,
if he had decided to bring Will Rogers with him to Alabama, half the team may have transferred because again, Milroe had a good year, really good year the year before. It was very difficult. And then if you just go back and look at it as a whole, Zach, and this is more on Milroe than I think DeBoer and that coaching staff put him in position to be successful. Every game they had a chance to win, even Oklahoma to a degree, because they had some tough luck. That first touchdown gets called back. You have to kick a field goal, yada, yada, yada. It should have been a 3-3 game at halftime. Defense does give up a touchdown, but you're only down 10-3 at halftime of Oklahoma, and you had the lead at halftime at Tennessee. Probably should have had a bigger lead. Really should have because Milroe didn't perform. And then you still had chances to win that game late, down up 17-14, down 21-17, 24-17. Couldn't rally your team. And then the Vandy game, he led them to 35 points, but he did make some crucial mistakes even in that game. But he scored enough points in that game. And we all remember, how the team played, in their other loss. So I mean,
Oklahoma, they were down 10-3 at halftime.
10-3. That's what I'm saying, man.
The ball.
Yeah, they had chances to win every game. Yeah.
DeBoer and Nick Sheridan are sitting in there watching game after game, and they know this guy's not a quarterback. I hate it for him. It's pathetic. I mean, his pocket awareness is atrocious.
No, he doesn't have any pocket presence. And I'll just say this, Zach, you've listened
Thanks
to
for the
show
phone
enough,
call, Zach.
Thank you for the phone call. But I'm not afraid. Jalen Milroe's not the most coachable kid in the world. Okay, I just don't.
He was doing NIL stuff pregame.
Oh, I know. He's not coachable. He thinks that he's Tom Brady. He and his dad think that he's the best player in the world. I mean, don't forget after he threw the gravedigger, he's sitting there cussing, yelling at everybody, "Give me the Heisman Trophy." Are you kidding me? I mean, hellfire. Everybody knows that he went out and fell on his face in the Rose Bowl and didn't play very well. And I'll
say this: it's kind of ironic that it was coming down a flood there to start that game in the ReliaQuest Bowl, because when Alabama was there last year, it was coming a flood in that game. Even though Jalen Milroe didn't play, the conditions.
And how
were
ironic was, Scott, on one of the turnovers, the snap hit him straight in the chest, and he fumbled it and lost it. Was that Seth McLaughlin's fault too? He only went to Ohio State and won the Remington Award. Give me a break. Seth
well,
McLaughlin's struggles were all on Milroe, too. Milroe's got to get his ass out of town.
We'll say this. It's time for us to get a break in. We got to get one in before the top of the hour, and we'll do it right now. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. Are those new school clothes wearing out that old washer and dryer? Well, it's time to get off the bus at Owen Home Appliance Center and learn what a new Speed Queen washer can do for you. They're in stock and are ready for delivery now. At Owen Home Appliance Center, quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's right there in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center. 2 locations to serve you, Highway 36 in Somerville and the interactive location at Highway 231 in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Short time here left in hour number 1. Coming up again, top of the hour, Bryant Starkey, Bob Jones head basketball coach, will join us. Bottom of the hour, 8:30, Brooks Austin will join us as we talk Georgia and Notre Dame, as that is the last of the quarterfinals. And it was funny because I heard people say, Let's not refer to this as the Final Four in college football because that is reserved for basketball.
Right.
All of these teams are wanting to make the semifinals in college football.
And I'll just say, as we were going to break, and I was trying to say it to Zach, my main point is Alabama had 4 losses this year.
Yes.
And Milroe did make a couple of big mistakes against Vandy to help lose to the Commodores for the first time since 1984. But they scored 35 points. He had a good statistical game, even though they got down 24-7. Honestly, he made enough plays to win that game. I'm not going to put that game on Milroe, but I will say this. Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Michigan are all directly his fault. Okay? He played piss-poor football. He turned it over time and again. He was given the games on a silver platter to win. Guys running wide ass open, and he can't make the reads. He can't make the throws. He's not good enough.
And how many times did he stay in the pocket too long, and he could have taken
and
off
everybody
and
always
ran.
getting on the offensive line. The sacks against Michigan, they got some. They sacked him 5 or 6 times, but the majority of them were Milroe's fault because he held on to the ball too long. He has no pocket presence. He doesn't climb the pocket, and he didn't make throws. And I know Dan's got all these stats and all this stuff about Michigan beating Alabama. That's great. They deserve to beat Alabama the last 2 years. I make no excuses about it, okay? That's fine. They've beaten Alabama 2 years in a row. congratulations. Just like they've beaten Ohio State. Ohio State's probably going to win the national championship, Dan.
Makes you wonder how Ohio State lost that game.
Yeah, but you guys are controlling the series right now. It does raise a lot of questions. But it does show how good Michigan is defensively and how good Wink Martindale is. So I'm not making any excuses. And again, Michigan deserved to win both those games. I've never gone away from that. But I will just say, and I don't know how good Ty Simpson's going to be, but it's time for somebody else to get the baton at Alabama at the quarterback position. This guy has basically held the program hostage for 2 years. He's been the best guy. He should have been the starter the last 2 years, but he's had his time in the sun, and it's time for him to either A, go to the NFL, which I think is what he's going to do, because it's a weak quarterback class, or B, get your ass in the transfer portal, go to USC or somewhere else, and just don't play at Alabama.
Does Austin Mack factor into this decision anywhere?
Scott, there will be a three-way dance. All three of them, Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell, will all get opportunities this spring, and it's going to be fascinating, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air, and he can take Lank with him.
Lank is checked out.
Yep.
Gone.
History.
All right. Well, hour one is history. We've done 60 minutes. We've got 60 minutes more to go. Bryant Starkey. Rod, I apologize. We just did not have a lot of time there. Bryant Starkey will join us. Rod, give us a call back around 8:15, and we'll get you in, I promise. Bryant Starkey next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
The Sugar Bowl was postponed on Wednesday following a truck attack in the French Quarter in the early morning hours of New Year's Day. The game will be played today at the Superdome. It's a 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific kickoff. Notre Dame, a slim 1-point favorite, -115 on the money line. Georgia, -105. Over-under is 45.5. The winner advances to the Orange Bowl, where they'll take on Penn State. That game scheduled for Thursday, January the 9th. Friday the 10th, 8th seed Ohio State battles 5th seed Texas at the Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, Texas. The Buckeyes, a 6.5-point favorite heading in. Over-unders 53.5. Texas +190 on the money line. Ohio State's the +120 favorite to win the national title. I'm Chuck Sanders on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour 2 is upon us. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back in. 60 more minutes of fun with you. I promise we'll get back out to the phone calls because I know we got a lot of people that want to weigh in on a lot of topics and conversation, and we'll do that here in just a little bit. But hour 2 underway, thanks to SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives. 256-881-5151. You can experience the SportsMed difference just by giving them a call, and now may be a good time as you start the new year. over the break, one of the things that Drew, you and I had a chance to be a part of was the 2024 Huntsville City Classic, a classic that saw the Bob Jones Patriots go on to take the 42nd edition championship. As they got a win over Buckhorn in the championship game. Of course, Buckhorn making their first ever appearance in that championship game, and they had a fantastic run to the title game, did the Bucks and head coach Patrick Harding. But it was Bryant Starkey and the Bob Jones Patriots getting a win in probably one of the most improbable, most fantastic, classic semifinal games in their win over Huntsville.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. There's no question, and it's really, the Bob Jones Patriots have won this tournament now 3 times. In 2002, they were led by Fernandez Lockett and Jordan Howell, who went to Tennessee and Austin Peay respectively. They went to the state championship game, lost to Ronald Steele and John Carroll in an outstanding game. 2011, they won this tournament. They had an undefeated regular season. They were led by Levi Randolph and Reggie Ragland. And now for the 3rd time in history, the Bob Jones Patriots in 2024 have won the tournament, have won the Huntsville City Classic. We'll see where this team goes, led by MVP Caden Rickard, led by Jalen Rice. This is an older team led by juniors and seniors who are really good players. They've really, really improved dramatically since I saw them in their first game of the year, in Huntsville High's first game of the year, I should say. I believe it may have been Bob Jones' second game of the year, but Bob Jones has they've gotten continuously better, and it's a credit to our next guest on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, who was the Jerry Dugan coach of the tournament, and that's Bryant Starkey, who's been kind enough to join us and talk about that unbelievable 3-day run here today as in our first show back following the new year. Coach Starkey, Happy New Year to you. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Happy New Year, guys. Good morning.
Morning, Coach.
Well, Coach, I mean, I know you're getting ready for, and it's pretty crazy. I was looking at, you guys are 14-7 now, so technically, I don't know if you're playing exactly 30, but you would have 9 games left. It's going to be a quick month of January to get ready for the area tournament and postseason play. But I was just talking about how much you guys have improved. What have you taken most? What's the biggest thing you've taken from that great run that your team just made? And what's, I think, as hard a tournament to win as there is in the state, and maybe harder than winning a state championship some years?
Yeah, the Classic, that's I mean, that environment and everything, and having to play 4 games in 3 days, that's a pretty tough task. When you look at our bracket, who we had to play all through there, it was May Jemison, Enterprise, Huntsville, and then, of course, Buckhorn there down the stretch. And all 4 of those are ranked in the top 10 of the state. They're all great basketball teams. Every game was close. I think we beat May Jemison by 3 in that first round. So, you very well could have jumped into the consolation bracket right off the bat. It's just that kind of tournament. But fortunately, we made it through the right side of the bracket. But yeah, that's a tough tournament. It really is, and it's one that our guys are going to remember forever.
They'll also remember, I mean, Coach, it's hard not to forget. I mean, it's easy. It won't be easy to forget the championship, but it will be even harder to forget the semifinal game with Huntsville. I mean, you want to talk about an environment and you want to talk some big-time plays. Those are the games. Those are the type of games that get teams ready for postseason runs.
Yeah, that was. I don't know if I've ever seen an ending quite like that one. That's pretty exciting. We're down 7 with. I went back and looked at it on film. 28 seconds. The ball bounced our way a couple times right there down the stretch, and to win a tournament like that, the ball's got to bounce your way. And it's the same thing goes for area play this month and the postseason play. If you're going to make a long run in the postseason, the ball's got to bounce your way. You got to have a little bit of luck in there. And so I think that's just something that tournament, shows you. It shows the kids that, hey, the ball will bounce our way. If we go out there and we do what we're supposed to do and we play hard. With 28 seconds left on the clock, you got to keep playing.
You really do, and it was an amazing show of toughness by your team to continue to not hang dog after they had control of the game for much of it. And then Huntsville looked like they might steal it at the end of regulation, but then Caden Rickard, while he was MVP, makes a huge runner to get it to overtime. Then Simon Walker kind of took over there for a little bit, but your team didn't stop competing, kept playing till the final whistle. And I thought it was kind of apropos. I went back and thought about this, Coach. We know Caden Rickard is the best player on your team, and he's certainly going to Murray State, and he earned the MVP award. But you had two seniors that made the first and the last shot of the game, so to speak. And what I mean by that is Jalen Rice made a three, after the opening tip. I think it was the first basket of the game. He made all tournament. And then to have the foresight, to make the winning three to go for Eric Morrow, no hesitation at all. You see Caden Rickard giving it up, kicking it to him, and he scored 6 points up to that point. I think he was 0 for 1 from three. And then to make that huge shot, yet another senior to step up in those big situations, I thought says a lot about the fabric of your team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I felt like Jalen Rice hit a big shot in every game of that tournament.
Very true.
Of course, we're gonna remember, Eric's down the stretch, and that's I think Eric's a good shooter, and he had been struggling from three, in the last couple of weeks, but somebody that we trust taking that shot. But you look back at the stats over the tournament, we had three different guys lead us in scoring during the 3 days. So you had Jalen Rice, you had Caden and Parks in the championship, Jacob Parks, he had 28 in the championship game. So we had three guys that led us in scoring, which I think, that it makes it difficult for teams to guard us, because I think a lot of the focus does go to Caden a lot of times, and rightfully so. He's a great basketball player, but whenever teams try to take him away, we still have a lot of guys that have experience. And I think one even that probably flew under the radar just because he got sick and missed our first day of the Classic is Jalen England.
Good point. Yeah,
he came back in the semifinal game. He was struggling with some asthma stuff, so we couldn't keep him on the floor. But he played the last 28 seconds or last 35 seconds of that Huntsville game, and he's one of our knockdown shooters. But he got 2 steals and 2 assists in 35 seconds. And
crazy.
It's just pretty incredible when you look at guys like that are used to playing big minutes for us, just couldn't play big minutes because he wasn't healthy, but he still goes in there and makes an impact in the game. That's pretty good.
Coach, how much rest did you guys do after winning that tournament on Saturday?
Yeah, it's we've had a good bit of rest since then. We came in and practiced on Monday, but unfortunately, after you win like that, my mentality is I want to go out there and just keep playing. You want to keep riding that momentum, but we don't have a game for 9 days. We had a game that was scheduled early on for tomorrow, but it got dropped, and so we're going to go all the way till Tuesday without playing. But I do think it's really good for our guys because we are pretty banged up. Caden, you saw him go out in the first game of the Classic, and he was just, he just had to push through. And so we need to get him healthy. We got a couple other guys that need to get healthy. So I think we're using this break in the right way. And then we're going to practice here in about an hour, and it'll be a pretty tough practice to get your legs back up underneath them after the New Year's. But we've enjoyed this break. I'm ready to get back on the floor though.
Well, and I'll say this: I'm glad you mentioned Jacob Parks. I was joking that he looked like Devin Booker in the finals. I mean, he couldn't miss. He was tremendous. I mean, he kind of got. I thought he had an underrated game because he fouled out of the Huntsville game, but before he fouled out, he made some nice plays. I think he had 10 points in the game. Made a big reverse layup late to keep the momentum in Bob Jones' favor. But in that final game, that's kind of what you need, though, because you need somebody that maybe hasn't exploded yet to kind of take over. And I thought he just basically took the game over. And I thought your team did a nice job of realizing this dude's hot. We got to get him the ball.
Yeah, that's something that we preach, daily in practice is if somebody hits a three in practice, they've at least got to touch it on the next possession. And it's not something that we've always done. We went through last year and we preached that, but we just had everybody was young and inexperienced. And they didn't, I don't know if they just couldn't lock in on that. But this year they've done a much better job of whenever somebody gets a hot hand on the floor, it's going to benefit us all to find them because it's going to clean everything up on that end, on the offensive end. It's going to get more looks for everybody because teams will start focusing in on that person. But credit to them. him whenever Parks got hot. They fed him, and it was fun to watch him.
Well, now, Coach, you come out of the Classic, and you guys have already started area play. So now you got to return your attention to area play, and it's not any easier.
No, it's not. And, yeah, you're right. We played 2 games. Everybody in our area is 1-1 right now. So that just kind of goes to show you how good this, 7-8 area 8 is with Florence and JC and Austin. It's close games every night, and I think our schedule has prepared us for it. We've played a really tough schedule over the course of the year so far, and when we pick up with James Clemens next week, it's going to be a war. So it's I'm excited to see how the guys handle it going into the new year here, and get these 4 area games in January.
Yeah, we're really excited too, because I just think, again, they've improved so dramatically, and you guys are a big team and a very good defensive team. I thought you did a really good job guarding Huntsville, and really for 3 quarters, Huntsville was shooting in the 20s. I think they'd made about 9 shots through 3 quarters. Now, I thought Huntsville competed with ferocity in the 4th quarter and overtime to give themselves a chance, and yet your team answered the bell, which says so much about it. And I wanted to give, just because I'm big in watching teams play and their chemistry, and then their coaching staff's energy and involvement. And I got to give your staff credit. I want to give them a shout out. Cody Martin, Robert Chapman, and Livingston Long. You've got a really good staff, Coach. I think they handle things really well. I love the way you approach the game as well, and you handle your team. But I think I got to give a shout out. Your coaching staff does an outstanding job.
No, they really do. It is a fantastic staff. I don't have to do a whole lot on game days. I just, I go down there and give them a suggestion every now and then on, hey, this is what I'm seeing, but they call the game. Coach Chapman, he handles the defensive side of the ball, and Coach Martin handles the offensive side. They get to call it as they see it, and they both got a real good feel for the game. But in a tournament like that, whenever you're playing, you don't know who you're going to be playing from, one day to the next. You got to scout everybody, and they took over on that. We split film up, and they had different game plans for every game. I know, like the first game we played zone almost exclusively against Mae Jemison, and then we come back for the next 2 days and play man to man. And it's good that our kids can adjust like that, and that the coaches see. We look at film and we say, hey, this is a team that we need to run a little bit more zone out with our length. Or this is a team that I think we can guard man. But yeah, no, you're right. They do a fantastic job preparing the kids every single game, and they're a fun staff to be around. We have a lot of fun with the kids. We have a lot of fun, being around each other. So it makes it enjoyable for sure.
What does this one mean? I mean, you bring home the title, you bring home the Classic Championship, your name, Bob Jones's name goes up there on the wall now as 2024 champions. I know we talked to you after the game and asked you that, but what does this mean for Bob Jones?
Yeah, I think I told you after the game, I think it means that the guys have really done everything that they're supposed to improve. I know you've used that word several times on here, how much we've improved over the course of the year, and we really have. The guys have come in every single day, and it's not always easy. We lose a tough one against Austin. It's just a heartbreaker at the end in our first area game, and have to bounce back 2 days later and play Florence, who at the time was number 5 in the state, and they did. It's just they pushed to the next moment, and that's something that we preach all the time. It's just go into the next moment, and I think during that tournament it showed just being able to go to the next moment and take care of the next thing that was the task. And these guys get to look up every year when they go back and watch the Classic and see Bob Jones on the wall, and they're going to be they'll be known for that forever. And you want to see the guys succeed, and you want to see them have those moments, because they really do deserve it the way that they work every day.
And Coach, I think you mentioned it earlier, but obviously you guys are taking the rest of this week off, and so your next game is Tuesday. Did you say it's an area game against James Clemens?
Tuesday we go to Sparkman.
Okay, Sparkman. Apologies.
So we get Sparkman on Tuesday, and then we go to JC on Friday.
Well,
so,
everybody get there early. That's going to be a
right.
big crowd, brother. At JC,
I think both of those games will be great crowds for sure.
Yeah, Sparkman certainly acquitted themselves well under Obadiah Threadgill in the tournament also, I thought. But, yeah, 2 tough games coming up for Bob Jones. But, man, what a journey they've had, and they're climbing right now. You made a lot of noise, Coach, and it's kudos to you, your staff, and your players. It's a job well done and well earned. It always is when you win that tournament. Hopefully it will lead to bigger and better things, and you guys are going to go on a run here. But we really appreciate the time. And, again, we congratulate you on being Jerry Dugan Coach of the tournament. You earned that with your team's performance. And, again, we congratulate Bob Jones on their 3rd tournament title. And, heck, man, they won the state championship in 2010. I know you guys are hoping to get back to Birmingham as well. But a job well done, and we appreciate you taking some time to join us before practice this morning.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations again. Bryant Starkey, head coach of the Bob Jones Patriots. And, Andrew, it was just a remarkable 3 days of basketball.
Always is, man.
I mean, you give a lot of credit to Patrick Harding and the Buckhorn Bucks. They were shorthanded.
Great run, yeah. They were without guys with the flu and stuff. I mean, and really
18. They hit 18 3-pointers in a quarterfinal win over Fairfield.
And I'm just telling you, Fairfield is still the favorite in 4A. They just drilled Fairfield. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. You know, the first 7 baskets or whatnot are threes, and I think they made them all in a row. We just never seen a team shoot like that. And really, they only had one bad quarter, Scott. And it was the 4th quarter against Bob Jones.
Otherwise, they just ran out of gas.
Yeah,
I think they just ran out of
right,
gas.
Exactly. They didn't have some guys due to the flu. But what a performance. And I thought Jeremiah Wilson was as good as anybody in the tournament, including Caden Rickard. He was tremendous. Their team played really, really well. And I think Patrick saw them kind of turn the corner over in Knoxville where they split 2 games. And I just think overall when you look at it, Buckhorn's going to be dangerous. I know they don't have Caleb Holt anymore. We understand that, or Devin Chapman, but they've really had guys grow into their roles.
Yes.
And of course, Patrick does a great job coaching them, but they're a very good basketball team, and they had a great run themselves. So great job by them.
We said it on the broadcast, Steve and I did several times, that, hey, look, it's time when you talk about Buckhorn and where they're at right now in the season, it's more about let's start talking about who they have rather than who they lost because, Fred Derrick is still there, and he played well in that tournament as well. So it was all-around, it was a great classic, and it was fun, and it was good to be a part of. As well.
Yeah, and I'll say this before we go to break. I thought Huntsville responded well. I mean, they beat Grissom soundly, and it's tough. When you lose a game like they did, where you feel like you made a great comeback, and like Coach Starkey said, 27 seconds or whatnot, and you lose a 7-point lead and lose a heartbreaker like that, and then to come back and to win by 23, I thought they responded really well against a Grissom team that played well in the tournament also.
Yeah, because the expectations were Huntsville would be in the final. I mean, that's where they expect. I mean, that was the expectation was to be back in the finals, not to win it, but just to be back there and
would have had a good chance to win it. But yeah, exactly, and it's very tough to do. So, but again, kudos, and it was a great tournament. You and Steve did a great job, and once again, probably my favorite 3 days of the year. And we appreciate Bryant Starkey from the tournament champion Bob Jones for joining us.
We got to get a break in. When we come back, if you want to join us, 256-576-4977, that would be the time to do so. Let's get this recess in. We'll get to the phone lines next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
I got rice cooking in the microwave. Got a 3-day beard I don't plan to shave, and it's
First edition of Talking Ball in 2025. Don't forget a little programming note here. Because of the Sugar Bowl being played today, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, we will have the Sugar Bowl for you this afternoon at 3 o'clock. That means there will be no drive for everybody this evening, because right after the Sugar Bowl, UAH basketball will take your airwaves as the Chargers were on the road here in Jackson, Tennessee.
That's why you're in Jackson, Tennessee. I was wondering. I was like, he didn't have car trouble or something, did he? I totally forgot.
No, we're in Jackson. Oh, Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, there you go.
We're in Jackson, Tennessee. So that's the programming note for today.
Okay, that's why you're on the road again. I got you.
Yes. No, I just woke up and went to the hotel for the hell of it.
I was like, it didn't get snowed in or anything.
Because I felt like it.
Right.
Anyway, so that's the programming note. So we will have the Sugar Bowl for you. That'll come your way at 3. Again, no drive at 5, and then UAH basketball coming up against Union tonight. By the way, they're inside the top 10 now, though, in the Division II rankings are the Chargers. So they moved up during the break. I mentioned we go back out to the phone lines. Let's get Rod in this morning. Good morning, Rod.
Morning, Rod.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Roll Tide. Hey, Drew, you hit 99.9% of it on the head with all the crazy, how you can't control the locker room, and everybody would have went ape crazy if he would have, benched him and everything. And that's the sad thing about college football. My biggest take is with Freddie Roach and the offensive line coach. We are not just knocking people off the ball. We're not big. I mean, we're big, but we're not physical. And then that left tackle, he's so slow. I'm just hoping that improves. Do you know anything about this offensive line coach? And is he legit or what? I just feel like
the recruiting has been lights out on the offensive line. I thought the offensive line was improved from last year. They had some guys like Jaden Roberts get banged up this year where they had to move guys around. I thought for the most part they played well. Rod, most of the sacks are on Milroe. I know the run, and I'm telling you, if you can complete a few throws, you might be surprised at how the running game might open up. The quarterback position is 90% of the problem.
What I think, Milroe is. And look, Ohio State got an All-American center from us because everybody put the blame on him. And
now that he's out, people are saying that they're even better, which is garbage. They would have still been rolling if he were healthy. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. All you're doing is trying to cover for Milroe, you morons.
That's what I say. And this kid started in the 2020 National Championship game as a freshman. And it's, I'd still just, with Freddie Roach, and I'm like this, if DeBoer is not going to make any changes with that, you got the best job in America, go out and we need to go to LSU and get Bo Davis. And, you remember Jeff Stoutland, we had with the Eagles, he was We just got to get somewhere like that. These kids just come off the ball so physical and everything. And if he's not going to make these changes, he's just pissing in the wind, you know. And it's sad, and we're not going to really be able to do anything, you know, unless he makes some changes. And you know, in a perfect world, with Milroe not being the quarterback, he could have, you know, he could make a change and everything. And you can't do that because of the locker room and the stranglehold he has on the darn team. You know, I don't know if you know, I'd talked to a lot of folks that were down there, and they said Coach Saban did not get along with Milroe at all.
No, I mean, I don't think a lot of people have behind the scenes.
Yeah, they did not get along, and Milroe's dad acted like a little bitch. If he ain't playing, you know, we're going to do this. It's just sad.
And Rod, I mean, that's just, and a lot of that is the era we are in now in college football, where the NIL stuff takes over. That if you don't play my son, you don't take this, you don't do this, you don't do that, we're going to leave. And lots of times it just means they want more money, and some schools will give it to them. And that's just the way it is. It's the sad world in college sports. Let's get B. Rich in this morning. Good morning, B. Rich.
Morning, B. Rich.
Hey, gentlemen, I hope y'all had a happy holidays. Glad to hear y'all back on the air.
Appreciate you.
I hate that y'all are having to deal with, and I saw this coming as soon as they lost the game. You're dealing with freaked out Bama Nation. It's like we didn't learn a single thing from the entire Saban era. I mean, when you have a change, there is going to be some growing pains, and to see people throw dirt on the top of Kalen DeBoer already is just, it's like these people don't pay attention. Quit being spoiled, entitled Bama fan, and just give the man a second to get a square peg in a square hole this time, okay? Drew, you've done a great job of explaining it. I really don't want to go into it anymore.
Right.
So let's change the subject here. Gentlemen, what about that Peach Bowl yesterday? Was that not the best game
That was amazing.
of the bowl season?
Especially the fourth quarter was crazy.
I mean, if you don't think momentum is a real thing, look at how Texas came smoking out of the gate, 14-0, had all the momentum in the world, and then that fourth quarter for Arizona State was as exciting as you're going to get. Then you've got Bert Auburn, who can't kick a ball between a 4-mile wide goalpost in the fourth quarter there. Yeah. And then somehow they end up winning the game.
Crazy. Well, how many Texas fans do you think were nervous on those extra points that he had to kick in overtime?
God, did you see how many surrender Cobras were in the stands? I mean, there were so many surrender. They looked like they were about to throw up all over themselves, and then you flip, just in the blink of an eye, Quinn, who is a competent, able to process things quarterback.
What's a read, Richie?
Gets you right back in the ball game. Back in the ball game.
And here's the thing too: how many head coaches from now on will stay away from their kickers before they go out and kick a big field goal? And then you have Steve Sarkisian hugging his kicker and talking to him before he goes out there to kick, which would have been the game winner.
Was that not the most over-dramatic thing I've ever seen on TV? He was right in his face and all that, and it just blew up. But they were able to push on through. Hey, guys, I'll get off of here. I just want to say one more thing. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Christy Curry and the Alabama Crimson Tide women's basketball team is off to a 13-1 start. Best start in basketball history. They play Florida tonight to open conference play at 6 o'clock. Support these ladies. If you can't go to the game, turn the game on. It's on SEC Plus. If you got ESPN Plus, easy subscription to stream. Support these ladies. She's doing big things down there. Happy New Year's, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes, that is the 19th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. They are 19th in the latest AP Top 25 poll. Are the Alabama
Bama
women.
will open the men on Saturday at home against undefeated Oklahoma. So both of them having big openers. The women tonight and then the men on Saturday.
All right, we do have to get a break in because when we come back, we want to spend as much time as we can with Brooks Austin because there is a lot to talk about with the Georgia Bulldogs, not only about the game tonight with Notre Dame, how were they able to handle everything yesterday with everything that surrounded the football team, the city of New Orleans, and that terrible, awful situation. Brooks Austin will join us next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon, but we are going to be quite chilly across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s. A couple of folks could see the lower 50s. We drop into the mid 30s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Once again, temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s, dropping into the mid 20s as we head into the early part of the weekend. A mostly sunny sky Saturday afternoon. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 40s, dropping into the low 30s overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
7 ESPN The Zone. The last game of our college football playoffs, we'll see Georgia and Notre Dame meet at 3 o'clock today. And Drew, at the beginning of the season, the way the Georgia Bulldogs were constructed, we said, okay, here we go. They, with Carson Beck, could be the best team in college football. Let's pencil them in to win the SEC championship. Let's pencil them in to win the national championship. Georgia goes on. They do exactly what we penciled them in to do, and that is to win the SEC championship. And they do it with Carson Beck up until the SEC championship game, late in the SEC championship game when he goes out. Gunnar Stockton comes in. They still are able to win the SEC championship. Now we're sitting here saying, can the Georgia Bulldogs still win the national championship as constructed? This time, though, we're saying it as with Gunnar Stockton as the starting quarterback, because since we last had a show, Carson Beck has decided to forego everything and will head to the NFL draft. He already was questionable to return with that injury, but now he is not, and we will not see him for the rest of his time there. He's done in a Georgia Bulldog uniform, but the question is, can the Georgia Bulldogs, as constructed with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, be good enough to beat Notre Dame and good enough to win a national championship?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. What is Georgia going to look like with Gunnar Stockton? We're still working to get Brooks Austin on the phone on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to talk about that and break down the matchup. But again, that is the interesting part, and I think the most fascinating is what is Georgia going to look like under Gunnar Stockton. We saw a little bit of it when he was thrown into the fire in the second half against Texas in the SEC championship game. I thought he did a good job considering that he was not anticipated to play in the game. He made one horrendous decision that nearly cost his team dearly, but they found a way to win it in overtime. So we will see what the Georgia Bulldogs look like tonight, and I think it's going to be, the biggest storyline in the football game, and I can't wait to hear Brooks' thoughts on it as we work to get him on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and break it down, as he does such a great job as the film guy, as we know, and, of course, part of Dogs Daily, which is part of Sports Illustrated.
Yep. So apparently our phones are messing up. So hopefully we'll get him very soon. I don't know. But if we don't, then, hopefully we can. In case you're wondering, right now Notre Dame, I believe, because of, and Drew, this solely has to be because of Gunnar Stockton versus Carson Beck, that Notre Dame is a 1-point favorite in this ball game. Is that because of the quarterback change?
Yes, it's the quarterback change. If Georgia were healthy, if Carson Beck were 100%, then I believe they would be a favorite over Notre Dame. No question about it. I think that's why they're not. No doubt.
Okay, so hopefully we're still efforting to get Brooks Austin here in a little bit. So the winner of this one will move on to the Orange Bowl, where they will await 6-seed Penn State. That is the matchup there. Now, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, and again, that is set for the 10th of January, so we have to wait until the 10th. Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State has opened up as a 6-point, well, they opened up as a 4.5-point favorite, and it's ballooned up to a 6-point favorite in favor of Ohio State for the Cotton Bowl. All right. Still waiting here to get Brooks Austin. But now's a good time, and we'll slip this in since we're waiting for Brooks Austin, and it's a completely thing, but it stays with football. Alabama A&M has found their new head football coach.
Fascinating.
Yes, and they have gone with Sam Shade as their new head football coach. He was at Miles for the past 3 seasons, 18-15 overall, 15-7 inside the SIAC, which is the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. In 2024, they won the conference title. They reached the second round of the NCAA Division II playoffs, which they fell to Valdosta State. Valdosta State ended up going on and playing for the national title. In the title game, they would lose that one. But Sam Shade, no stranger to Alabama fans.
He's not at all. He was a national champion in 1992 from Winona and Birmingham. Was an outstanding player as a strong safety for the University of Alabama. Went on to a long pro career with the Washington Redskins. He played in, I still think, the greatest secondary in Alabama history. The cool part, I think he's going to bring the majority of that staff with him to Alabama A&M. You'll see guys like Antonio Langham, who's his cornerbacks coach, who's everybody knows what I think of Antonio Langham. I still think he's the greatest corner to ever play at Alabama, one of my all-time favorites. You got guys like Ronald McKinnon. It's going to be really cool to see that Sam Shade here on the Hill coaching Alabama A&M. I thought it was an outstanding move.
Yeah, so they have yet to have the press conference to officially introduce him. The school has officially announced that Sam Shade is the new head coach, but they have yet to have the press conference. There is a feeling that press conference will happen on the 6th. So we're just waiting and seeing where that will go there. Again, just waiting for Brooks Austin to officially join us. I tell you what, let's get a break in here real fast. And let's see if we can get Brooks in during this quick timeout because we want to catch up with him as we get a preview of this afternoon's Sugar Bowl between Georgia and Notre Dame.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well, try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Orthopedics. You're thinking bones, muscles, and joints, right? Well, what else comes to mind? Maybe your spine, therapy, or an arm cast? What about sports medicine? What do you think about when you hear that? Are you thinking about the largest orthopedic group in the state, caring for the most student athletes in North Alabama? Or about the fact that they are teamed up with the state's largest hospital-based sports medicine program to provide care to more schools in North Alabama than any other group? If you are, you have TOC Sports and Huntsville Hospital Sports Center on the brain. If you're not, you should, because Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports have partnered for more than 2 decades to establish a state-of-the-art team of certified athletic trainers and orthopedic specialists who successfully continue to meet and exceed the sports medicine needs of schools, athletes, coaches, and parents in our community. Committing to kids, committing to community, committing to care. That's Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. 8:44 here on a Thursday morning. And again, coming up later today at 3 o'clock on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, we will have the Sugar Bowl for you between Georgia and Notre Dame. That'll lead into UAH basketball as the Chargers are on the road tonight, taking on Union. We'll be in action tonight, and then we'll be in action on Saturday as we travel to Christian Brothers to take on Christian Brothers on Saturday. The Chargers, by the way, have climbed up to 6th in the national polls. So there you go.
And as they should have. UAH has been off to an outstanding start. I mean, this will be a really interesting road game in Jackson, Tennessee. But, again, UAH has earned everything they've done. They've done a heck of a job under Mick Hedgepeth and that staff and what they in this transition after John Schulman went to Central Arkansas. It's been an amazing run so far. And they've played at a very, very high level. And, right now they're the best team in the GSC, I think. I mean, I understand Montevallo is also undefeated. But what a job that the Chargers have done. And I know they're an older squad. They're a bunch of vets. But this has been a really good mesh between a new coach and his style and taking over this veteran roster.
January 9th. Circle your calendars for January 9th. That's when Montevallo comes to Spraggins Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be a good one. All right. So 256-576-4977. Well, actually, no. Don't even want to do that right now. Okay. Well, just keep trying. College basketball, we've not even had a chance to even touch on college basketball because there's been, both Alabama and Auburn have played some games since we have last joined you. And the Auburn Tigers, the Alabama Crimson Tide, both have looked good. But, Drew, it's done now. All that non-conference scheduling, all those games are done with. It's time to get into SEC conference play.
Absolutely. It's time to get into SEC conference play. It's the best basketball conference in the country. Sorry, we're not going to be able to give you Brooks Austin today. The schedule didn't work out, and we had some phone issues, but that's live radio. It happens. So we'll try to catch up with Brooks at another time. But, SEC basketball, they've been the best league in the country far and away during pre-conference, and now the meat grinder starts on Saturday. We've already kind of mentioned that when we'll be carrying it here on 97.7 The Zone, Alabama will face undefeated Porter Moser and Oklahoma at 5 o'clock on Saturday. I'll be on press row. It'll be my first chance to see Alabama in a while live. Really looking forward to that. They finished off the pre-conference on Sunday against South Dakota State, and they shot the ball very, very well. I believe they hit 19 threes. And, of course, Aiden Holloway, the transfer from Auburn, hit 8 of those and had a game-high 26 points. So Oklahoma hasn't played as difficult to schedule some of the others, but they've still beaten teams like Michigan, and they're undefeated. So it's going to be a fascinating start to SEC play. So many really good teams, so many teams ranked in the top 25. I think everybody in the league's got at least 10 wins. So this is going to be some fascinating stuff to watch.
Auburn on Saturday will open up with Missouri, and Missouri quietly, and I say quietly because they do have a win over Kansas. They are 11-2, are the Missouri Tigers, to finish off that non-conference portion. To your point, every team with 10 wins or more in the league, Missouri, one of those as well. They are 11-2. Heck, even Vanderbilt. Now, their schedule hasn't been murderer's row. I mean, it's Maryland, Eastern Shore, Southeast Missouri, California, Jack State, Nevada, Seton Hall. But Vanderbilt is off to a 12-1 start. There in the Music City. You have 3 SEC teams with perfect records right now: Florida, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 with just one loss: Auburn, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. And the rest of the league all has 2 losses with the exception of South Carolina. I mean, that is just, you look at the non-conference records for the conference, and that is ever so impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, what they did and, all the non-conference W's that the SEC got, no question about it. They've earned the right to be called the best conference in the country thus far. Now, I mean, they're going to have to prove it after this regular season, and they're going to beat each other up a lot. But I still think they've got a chance to get at least 10 teams in the NCAA tournament, and then how they do in that tournament will say a lot. I mean, that'll be kind of when you prove it, because the Big Ten has had a lot of regular seasons where they were unbelievable out of conference, and then it was a meat grinder during the regular season, and a lot of people thought the Big Ten would have a national champion, a Final Four participant, and they fizzled out in March Madness. We'll see how the SEC does, but certainly it's as good a run as I've seen probably since the mid '80s in the Big East when they were at their zenith in the first go round of that league.
Our good friend Blake Lovell from Southeastern 16 has compiled all these numbers. And 28-19 in Quad 1 games is the league so far. They're 19-3 in Quad 2 games. They're 45-14 in neutral court games. And against the AP Top 25, now this is their most wins ever. They are 21-8 is the SEC so far in AP Top 25 games. If you combine the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the Big East against those opponents, the SEC is 59-19 against ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and Big East opponents.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing run, and again, they've faced a lot of heavyweights. Really, the only glitch and it was a high-level game that Auburn easily could have won. Is Auburn losing on the road at Duke? But that was that's nothing to hang your head about. Auburn has certainly responded since that time and is playing as well as anybody in the country. And then Alabama laid waste to North Carolina and blew them out. And right now, Alabama's not even considered a 1 seed because Tennessee's undefeated. You see what Auburn's done. That just shows you the depth of talent in the SEC right now. Arkansas, what they're doing under John Calipari, that new roster. I know they had a little bit of a hiccup, but Mark Pope and in Kentucky, they had the one game against Ohio State where they didn't shoot it well, but Kentucky's got a brand new roster and done an outstanding job. So the SEC as a whole is just there's not really anybody that's completely weak in the league. I think if you had to ask me, hey Drew, who's at the bottom of the totem pole? Probably South Carolina, but again. They've had a win over Clemson. They've done a great job. So everything's, it's been an amazing run.
All right, 256-576-4977. If you would like to join us, you can real fast. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Only can look for brighter days ahead, hopefully, for Alabama. But I called about the Georgia game. It's unfortunate what happened down there. Has anybody made any announcements, and I'm sorry I haven't caught your entire show, that the winner of this game, will the game be delayed 1 day for preparation for the winner of today's game?
No. That schedule will remain the same. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything about if they're changing that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, either one, if y'all would, I'll hang up and listen. If y'all would comment on the fairness of that after a tragedy, how they can't. I mean, I know about hotel reservations, all that. I get that. There's people that's dead, right? So, help me understand why they wouldn't delay it 1 game to help Notre Dame or Georgia. I don't know. I see a bigger picture here that clearly money talks, and it doesn't matter what kind of tragedy. I think it should be moved to the 10th. You move it 1 day. Out of fairness. Your thoughts on that? I'll hang up and listen.
That's half a day. I don't really think what difference does it make, Scott? I don't see.
Well, look, and Mark's talking about moving.
I know he's talking about
Orange Bowl, but there are people, and the lieutenant governor of Louisiana believed that they should have delayed the Sugar Bowl by another day.
Yeah.
Like there's people that believe that the we're talking about moving the Capital One Orange Bowl another day. There's people that honestly believe that because of Bourbon Street still being an active crime scene, that we should have delayed the Sugar Bowl by another day.
I mean, I could have seen that. And
yes.
then look, man, you still got plenty of time to prepare. All this stuff about, they get 2 days less. Cry me a river. It's a football game, okay? You're not reinventing the wheel here. I mean, Mark just answered his own question. 15 people have lost their lives. An ISIS nut took a lot of people out, which is just a senseless tragedy. I mean, if you have 2 less days to prepare for a game, who cares? You're still playing the game. You still got a chance to win it. I mean, I don't think, 2 days less of preparation is going to be that big a difference, okay?
Well, I'll just say this. These are major college football programs, right?
Right.
I guarantee you, Notre Dame or Georgia both had staffers already figuring out how to do Penn State.
I mean,
both of them are already figuring out.
You know what you do? You eliminate a media day or something. Who cares? Let them have more practice. Boo hoo hoo. So you don't get more senseless, stupid questions. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in the media business, but you can adjust it and still play it at the same time. I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I'm more concerned with the lives that were lost and the people that were affected. A football game can still be played. Who cares if it's on a shorter timeline? Again, you get double-digit days to prepare anyway. You got plenty of time. Half of it is travel, logistics, and then you get down there and you have to do some stupid press conference that nobody gives a crap about anyway.
And here's the thing. We get 7 days in between regular season games, right? 7 days. If they play today, we're still looking at 7 days.
Yeah, they got plenty of time to prepare.
You're still looking at a normal week.
There's already people preparing for the next game in case you win anyway as a staff.
Yes. All right. Well, that'll do it. That's the first show of 2025. We only have a few more to go, and then we're done. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Talkin' Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Have a good call tonight.
All right, we'll see.